Room 9A had a reputation. Not for grades, not for achievements, but for what every teacher dreaded: disrespect, disruption, and defiance. It was the final year of high school, and this particular batch of students had driven away 3 teachers already. Some said they were just kids being kids, but others knew better. There was something wild in the way they behaved, as if kindness was weakness and authority was a joke. On a Monday morning in July, a new teacher walked in. His name was when everything changed. It was during PE period. The sports teacher was on leave, so Mr. Veer volunteered to supervise. The boys were playing in the courtyard when Zane and his friends spotted him standing near the wall. "Let's test his martial arts," Zane whispered to his group. They approached him with a challenge. "Sir, you said you know martial arts. Come nah, show us a move." Mr. Veer smiled politely. "It's not a game." "Ah, come on sir," mocked another student, circling him. "Just one punch. Let's see what you've got." More students gathered, forming a loose circle. Phones came out. Cameras were ready. This was going to be another viral humiliation. Zane stepped forward, doing a few mock karate chops. "I bet you can't even block this." He laughed, pretending to attack. And then, he swung. Not a light swing, a real one, straight at Mr. Veer's shoulder. In a flash so quick that even the cameras missed it, Mr. Veer stepped aside, gripped Zane's wrist mid-air, twisted it with controlled precision, and brought him gently, but firmly, to the ground. Nobody could believe what just happened. Zane wasn't hurt, but he was stunned. The entire courtyard went silent. Then, in one smooth motion, Mr. Veer helped him up, dusted his own shirt, and said softly, "Martial arts isn't for show. It's for self-control. Something you should learn." And then he walked away. The silence in the school that day was louder than all the laughter that had ever echoed through it. From that day on, things began to shift. Students came to class on time. They stopped interrupting. Even the principal heard about it and asked for a personal demonstration, which Mr. Veer humbly declined. "I don't teach fighting," he said. "I teach respect." But the story spread like wildfire. One teacher stood his ground, not with anger, but with grace. And a black belt no one saw coming. The quietest boy in class, who found the answer first. Rafi lived near the old gym where Mr. Veer trained every morning. One day, he decided to follow him after school, not to spy, but to learn. What he saw left him stunned. The gym was mostly empty. Just Mr. Veer, a punching bag, and the sounds of disciplined strikes echoing through the silence. But it wasn't the kicks or punches that caught Rafi's attention. It was the tears. After every set, Mr. Veer paused, breathing heavily, and then he sat on the mat, opened a worn-out photograph from his bag, and closed his eyes. Rafi hid behind a pillar, watching, confused, moved. That evening, he couldn't sleep. The next morning, during break, he mustered the courage to approach Sir's desk. "Sir, can I ask you something?" he whispered. Mr. Veer looked up, surprised by the rare softness in a student's voice. "Yes. Why do you cry, after practice?" There was silence. For a moment, Rafi feared he had crossed a line. But then Mr. Veer smiled. Not his usual polite smile, but a sad, distant one. "Because I remember," he said. "And remembering hurts. That same day, Rafi told the rest of the class. And suddenly, the students who once mocked Mr. Veer wanted to know him. So, they did something no one expected. They invited him to speak. Not as a teacher, but as a person. The next day, the classroom was transformed. Desks pushed to the sides. A chair placed at the center. Zane, yes, even Zane, stood up and said, "Sir, we want to apologize. And we want to know your story. Please, we're listening." Mr. Veer paused. For a long moment, he said nothing. But then he walked to the chair, and sat down. "I wasn't always like this," he began. I grew up in Delhi. In a noisy, happy home. My parents loved me. My younger brother, Arjun, was my best friend. We did everything together, shared toys, studied side by side, even got black belts together. But where I was calm, he was fire. Arjun had this way of lighting up a room. He was fearless, funny, everything I wasn't. At 16, we both entered the state-level karate championship. He beat me in the final. I didn't even mind. He deserved it. But, one night, coming home from practice, we took a shortcut through the railway station. There was a group of drunk men harassing a girl on the platform. Arjun didn't hesitate. He stepped in, fought them, defended her, and he won, until one of them pulled a knife. I was right there, but I froze. He bled out in my arms before the ambulance arrived. The class was silent. No one blinked. No one moved. Mr. Veer's voice was steady, but his hands trembled. I blamed myself for years. Why didn't I move? Why didn't I fight? Why did my training fail me when it mattered most? After that day, I stopped smiling. I stopped speaking much, but I didn't stop practicing. I trained harder, and I promised myself one thing: I'd teach people to be strong. Not just with their fists, but with their hearts. To fight the right battles. To have the courage that I lacked that night. He looked around the room. Eyes met his, wet with tears. Even Zain had lowered his head. I didn't come here to be feared, Mr. Veer said gently. I came to teach you that strength isn't in how loud you are. It's in how much you can take, and still stand tall. Then, he stood up. And walked out of the room. The students didn't speak for several minutes after he left. And then something amazing happened. They got to work. Within a week, they transformed his classroom. Painted the old boards. Cleaned the windows. One student brought in new chalks and markers. Another printed a banner that read, "Strength is silent, respect is loud." When Mr. Veer walked in the next Monday, he froze. The students were standing, hands behind their backs, heads slightly bowed, and in unison, they say that was the first time he smiled with his whole heart in years. But the story didn't end there. In the weeks that followed, the school underwent a change. Room 9A became the most disciplined class, not because they were forced, but because they were inspired. Mr. Veer began holding early morning karate sessions, not to teach fighting, but to teach focus and self-respect. Even Zain joined, and under Mr. Veer's mentorship, he went from troublemaker to team leader. The principal, stunned by the change, gave Mr. Veer a permanent position, but for him, the biggest reward wasn't the job. It was watching broken boys become brave men. And for once, knowing his brother would be proud.